Chapter 3, Mathew Made a Mistake. The next day the sun was on low rays in the sky, casting long shadows on the sidewalks of Millwood City. What he sings carry a message of hope and redemption, but his eyes often scan the crowd, looking for someone who might need more than just a melody. Samuel sat in his usual spot, strumming his guitar. That was when he noticed him, a young man, maybe in his early 20s, walking aimlessly down the street. His clothes were seams getting dirty and torn, and his shoulders slumped as if the weight of the world had been placed on them, and the cold wind seemed to bite at his skin, but he barely seemed to notice. His hollow eyes stared at the ground, lost in a world of his own. Samuel set his guitar down and called out, "Hey there, son. Are you all right?" The young man stopped, startled by the sudden attention. He glanced at Samuel, then at the guitar case filled with a few notes and coins. His lips trembled, but he didn't speak. "Come on, sit with me," Samuel said, patting the ground next to him. "I've got a blanket and some food. It's not much, but it'll warm you up." The young man hesitated but eventually nodded, shuffling over to Samuel's side. Samuel pulled out a worn blanket and draped it over the man's shoulders. Then he reached into his bag and handed him a piece of bread and a small container of soup. The young man ate slowly, his hands shaking as he held the cup. After a few minutes, he looked at Samuel and said, "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Samuel smiled. "Because I've been where you are. And I know what it's like to feel invisible, like no one cares. But I promise you, you're not alone." The young man's eyes filled with tears, and he quickly wiped them away. "I don't even know who I am anymore. I used to, but not anymore." Samuel tilted his head. "What's your name, son?" "Mathew," he said quietly. "I used to be a college student. My parents. They were so proud of me when I got into school." "What happened?" Samuel asked gently. Mathew stared at the ground, his voice trembling as he spoke. "I thought I had it all figured out. I worked hard in high school, got good grades, got into a decent college. But, it wasn't what I thought it would be. The pressure was insane. Classes were harder than I imagined. Everyone around me seemed smarter, more confident. I started feeling like I didn't belong." He paused, taking a shaky breath. "I didn't want to let my parents down, so I hid it. Pretended everything was fine. But inside, I was falling apart. I started skipping classes, hanging out with the wrong crowd. One night, I went to a party, and someone offered me something to help me relax." Mathew closed his eyes, his face filled with shame. "Yeah. And it worked, for a while. I stopped caring about my grades, about anything, really. My parents kept calling, asking how I was doing, and I couldn't face them. So, I stopped answering. Eventually, I dropped out. Packed my stuff and came here, thinking I could figure things out on my own. But I didn't. I just spiraled." Mathew's voice grew quieter as he continued. "That was a year ago. I've been out here ever since, living day to day. I do odd jobs when I can, but it's never enough. I've stolen food just to survive. Every time I think about going home, I hear my dad's voice, telling me how proud he was. I can't face them, not like this. Not after I've wasted everything they worked so hard to give me." Samuel watched Mathew closely, his heart aching for the young man. "You think you've fallen too far, don't you?" Mathew nodded. "I have. I don't even know if they'd want me back. I wouldn't blame them if they didn't." Samuel leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "Mathew, I don't know your parents, but I know this: there's no shame in admitting you've made mistakes. And there's no hole so deep that God can't pull you out of it. Trust me, I know." Mathew looked at him skeptically. "How? How do you know?" Samuel took a deep breath, his voice steady but full of emotion. Because I've been where you are. I left my family, thinking I could find something better. All I found was emptiness. I lost everything, my wife, my kids, my dignity. Ended up right here, on these streets, just like you. But you know what? God didn't give up on me. He hasn't given up on you either. Matthew's eyes welled up again. It's hard to believe that. After everything I've done. Samuel placed a hand on Matthew's shoulder. It's not about what you've done, son. It's about what you do now. You've got a choice to make. You can keep running, or you can turn around and start walking home. It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. Matthew sat quietly for a long time, staring at the ground. Finally, he looked up at Samuel. Do you really think they'd forgive me? Samuel smiled gently. I can't speak for them, but I know one thing, they'll never stop loving you. And neither will God. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to figure it all out at once. Matthew nodded slowly, the faintest hint of hope flickering in his eyes. I am going to call them and find what they say and they respond. Let's see. As Matthew walked away, Samuel watched him until he disappeared into the crowd. Picking up his guitar, Samuel strummed a few chords and began to sing softly. His voice carried through the streets, a song of redemption and second chances. Come home, all ye weary. Find rest for your soul. There's grace in his arms. And love that makes you whole. Though Matthew was gone, Samuel prayed that the song would follow him, guiding him back to where he truly belonged.